Ukraine, Russia, as I said, talks in London today. And the administration is playing, you call it a game of chicken. You could call it Russian roulette. Get it? Russian roulette. But they're basically saying take it or leave it. And part of what they're saying to take is formally acknowledge that Russia is going to keep Crimea and other parts of eastern Ukraine. Zelensky is making it very clear it's a non-starter. He says ceding that land violates the Constitution. Everybody knew this was going to be a tough deal to make. At the same time, everybody understands what the terms are likely to have to be. Here is the vice president today echoing in another tarmac statement what Marco Rubio said recently, which is this is the last chance to make a deal or the U.S. will walk away.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process. And I think that we've put together a very fair proposal. We're going to see if the Europeans, the Russians, and the Ukrainians are ultimately able to get this thing over the finish line.
Dan, I do wonder where the French and the British are on this. I don't have a good sense of that. But what happens now if there's no immediate deal? Does the U.S. really just walk away and let Putin take more territory, which is likely what would happen, or is this a bluff?
It's a bluff. We're not going to walk away. I mean, I really keep saying I don't understand what they're doing. I mean, so we're going to walk away and then beg the Europeans to help us with China on trade. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. What has Putin offered to give? Does anyone know?
Well, I don't know if he's offered, but they're asking Putin to
sure,
let
we're
Ukraine have
for,
some security assurances.
Sure, I know what we're asking, but all I've read is Russia is like maybe, we'll see, and just the bombs keep flying. So I don't understand what this latest temper tantrum is going to achieve. We're going to walk away and take our marbles and go home? Because one of us said the U.S. has refused to really come out and say we will explicitly defend Ukraine from further Russian advancement. I still have not heard that from anybody. So everyone's assured me that that is our bottom line, and Rubio doesn't want to be embarrassed. I don't understand what this tantrum on the tarmac is doing.
Well, I think it's forcing it. I mean, look,
it's forcing Putin?
No. I didn't say that. I said it's forcing these sides to come together because at the end of the day, right now, I think there's a recognition. I believe that Putin knows that this is unsustainable to go on, right? He doesn't have the fight in him and the end strength, the manpower to keep this thing going. The Europeans can't put an end to it. They certainly haven't done so far. They don't even have the ability to fund this thing. So the reality is we're the only ones who can do it. And I think the idea is to make it clear that, look, guys, we're willing to get the parties together in a realistic thing. I think I hate the idea that Putin walks away with anything, frankly, whether it's the Donbass or Crimea. But there's a certain reality that anybody with a brain has to be willing to accept, which is what's going to get this thing to end. I mean, I don't think that I heard a couple members of Congress saying the idea that Crimea is going to be acknowledged. I hate that. I hate the idea that Russia gets rewarded for doing bad things. But I also recognize that there is a reality that we live in, which is what is the way to get this to end? And to say that somehow we're going to return to all the lines, I don't think is realistic. Now, maybe someone has a better plan or a better idea, but unless we're willing to go all in and put boots on the ground, which we're not, I don't know how we can believe that there's an outcome that doesn't involve Russia ending up with at least additional land. I mean,
Sean, here's my question, though, and I say this respectfully. Russia's history is they will throw bodies at a problem almost in perpetuity. In the history of conflicts with Europe, Afghanistan was different, but I don't get any sense that Putin's thinking, I can't keep this up. Like, I think he will keep sending waves of bodies, and as bad as their military is, thinking he will weight us down and grind out Ukraine. So I agree with you that Russia probably is going to keep Crimea. But what assurances does Ukraine have that Russia is...
You're absolutely right. I mean, that's got to be what they're willing to say, which is, and I think that's the problem right now, again, with the Zelensky side, which is the U.S. has to be willing to say, hey, look, you're going to have to give a little, but in return, here's what we will promise you so that it doesn't happen again, so that you don't have to wake up and deal with it. But I think that is going to be fundamental. I get why Ukraine, but that's what Ukraine needs to do, and I think frankly Europe needs to be willing to say, guys, this is probably the best deal we're ever going to get. There's got to be a willingness to give security assurances to Ukraine that we'll have their back, that we won't allow further Russian aggression in any way, but in return that there's going to be, you know, land that gets annexed. And then I think there is a little that is probably in the gray area. Like I know that Russia wants the U.S. to formally accept, or Ukraine to formally accept, that Crimea is theirs. I don't know that there'll be that formal acknowledgement or not, but I think those are some of the areas that are probably a little bit more gray.
Although you both said things that seemed in conflict, I actually agree with everything both of you said. And Zelensky apparently wants to see the president at the around on the sidelines of the Pope's funeral. I do believe that those two guys are going to have some sort of trust between them. Witkoff's supposed to go back and see Putin, I think, in a couple days. So there's going to be more conversations no matter what happens in London today. But I don't see the forcing mechanism unless Trump has kind of a heart-to-heart, man-to-man, leader-to-leader conversation with Zelensky. I just don't see him going for anything like the deal that the U.S. is supporting, and I doubt the Europeans will too. Hey, want to be part of the two-way community all the time? Hit the subscribe button. Great video clips like this, plus conversations like no other, full episodes and more, always available on this channel. You got to hit subscribe to never miss a thing.